Good morning, Blue Troopers. First the princess wants to join me, then she wants to run hide over there. Well, anyway, for those who didn't catch the live stream, I told everyone I'd give them some time to chat amongst themselves. After I stopped the live stream, I kept up running and got distracted by something. Had completely forgotten, left it up for about an additional 3 hours or so. My wife and I watched Wonder Woman 84, and then she said, I went back, after the movie was over, we were chatting about it, went to look something up about it, some trivia, and of course, it's like, oh look, the camera's still running. I mean, the live stream, the camera was off, the live stream was still going. Oh well, life in modern times, huh? So I essentially finished the Twotter, a little touch up to do on it, and one or two little parts to add, and it came out, man, okay, you know, I could have done better, should have done better, but my first officer that I had just flown with flew these for a long time for NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And of course, I've got this one in Golden Knights colors, but it's an incredible airplane. I've seen them fly a few times, and they went back in production a while back. They're like $7.5–8 million for a new one, and they're virtually handmade. But they're the only plane that does what they do as well as it does. So there you go. And it's the time of year where it's routinely getting pretty crisp here, and a little windy, which I have to renew my membership at the RC field. Need to get out and fly before I get out of practice. And when it gets cold, the airplanes do perform well, but the winds tend to kick up, and it's amazing just how little wind a radio-controlled airplane can take. So just a couple more models on the bench before I get on those cars, and I've got the car. I've got the. I need to check my paint colors, but I know I'm going to have to go find that paint for that Polera. But other than that, that's not a lot going on. Just recovering from the holiday. Time to get started on the diet again and get back to building models. I actually decaled this at my computer inside the house. I might start bringing some of the stuff inside to work on, because I'm going to look next time I go to Lowe's what you guys are talking about, maybe getting a little heater. And I got those, I saw those attachments you sent, so I might consider that, because one thing I'm noticing is, of course, we all know the rattle cans, you get below 50 degrees, they're not very good, but even the regular paint that I use in the airbrush, it has some issues. It's not as bad as the rattle cans, but you really gotta, I've got the electric stirrer, and you really gotta stir it up, and it just seems like when they get cold, they don't flow and they don't adhere like we're used to, which is actually no shock. And I realize cold is a relative term. Yes, I know. I'm a Florida cold weather sissy. To us, cold is below 50. Freezing's below freezing. And then I see pictures of you guys up in the great white north, and I'm like, good Lord. Now, I've lived up there before. I was in Kentucky in the Army. They get pretty good snows there, and I've been through some Chicago winters and stuff. And of course, I was just in Buffalo the other day, and I think the princess is going to make her presence known. Hey, Pumpkin, yes. During the live stream yesterday, she just started meowing. I don't keep her out of the room or anything, but she rarely makes any noise. But she'd been fed and everything. I think it was that Daddy, you're not paying attention to me meow. So my wife scooped her up, take her out, because she didn't want her making noise. And boy, then she really, what's that phrase, caterwaulered. So I still have a few things to do. The Twin Otter, I got a few, like the footsteps and antennas I need to put on it. I want to make sure that I got the decals on it first, because they go right by there, and I guarantee I would have knocked them off. And I got to use some Solvaset on the decals, and I got to clear coat it. And I'll probably put a a black decal patch where the jump door goes, because the Golden Knights Twin Otter has that slide up Lexan door. And the kit was okay. Like I said, my only complaints are that primary complaints are that the wings and horizontal stabilizers, typical tab and slot type, and you have to vise them in place till the glue hardens. They don't stay there on their own. And I've got a 44 or 45 slug up in the nose to keep it on its nose. And that's pretty much about it. I want to finish that other Peggy, which I could probably do today. I've put a little effort into it, just depending on how the day goes. And that's actually, I think the last thing that's actually on the bench right now. So that Polaire will be next in line. Hobby shop won't open until they're closed Monday and Tuesday here, so Hurricane Hobbies won't open until Wednesday. So unfortunately, Wednesday is the day I go back to work. So although I can get working on the car, mainly building the engine and everything, and I believe I already have the Hemi orange to paint it. And you know, it's funny, I'd always seen the Polaire as a grandma's car, and because of my grandma had the four-door, I'd never seen it as a muscle car. But then you know, look at some of the things they did with him, like, wow. Hey, I was at one of these garages that sells vintage cars a couple of years ago with my first officer, and they had a replica of the Dukes of Hazzard car, which being from Tennessee, he loved that show, so he was thrilled to get. It had the horn and everything, and I think it's called Gateway. I think it was the name of the place, and they had one of my dream cars. I think it was a '67 GTO in that orangey color they came in, and that was a convertible drop top, and I think they wanted about 40 grand for it. And I was like, you know, if I was still a single guy, I'd have snapped that thing up. Not that I really have anything to do with it, just drive around the neighborhood, you know, but they're such beautiful cars. They had about a, I don't know, 64 440, and they just had a lot of stuff there, some 50s vintage four doors. And it's funny, you can get the, you know, if you like to build cars in the 50s, especially the big trio, the 55, 56, 57, the Chevy Trio. If you look for a two-door, especially a two-door hardtop that doesn't have the post on the door, they're god-awful expensive. But you can pick up a four-door in nice condition for 15 to 20 grand, literally half the price. It's all about what people want. You know, we build these models, these cars, not only because they're the cars of our childhood sometimes, but because they're just beautiful machines. There's aesthetics to them, the stories behind them. But if you ever own a real one, you realize that, but they are old technology. You got to herd them down the road. They don't go straight automatically, and you're always tinkering on them. You know, especially you got like the old 3 on the tree, which has a tendency to stretch a little bit and has to be adjusted from time to time and things like that. And you go out in the morning, they won't start because moisture collects on things because they weren't as watertight. And I think that's one of the beauties of model building, is you get to enjoy the aesthetic without the aggravation. You know, you can build a World War I biplane, but not freeze your butt off trying to fly the thing. You know, there's a reason that they used to, you know, wrap up in those big heavy leather flying suits. It wasn't a fashion statement. I believe the British pilots used to carry a flask of blackberry brandy with them to apparently to offset the laxative effects of the castor oil they used to lubricate the engines, which of course when it was burned off, you're breathing castor oil fumes, which would, you know, tend to have to make you go. God, if you was going to fly one of those things in combat, a canvas bucket covered in nitric dope, which is basically rocket fuel. So let's say if I got a cloth and wood airplane covered in rocket fuel and no parachute, and I'm going to go dogfight with these other guys. Yeah, I think I'll take a flask of brandy with me. If you ever get a chance, if you're at an air show museum, they have some World War I aircraft or replica World War I aircraft on display. Go take a look at them and see how primitive an affair they really are. It's an eye-opener. or that matters, drive an old Model T or even a Model A. I mean, they're beautiful and they were something for their day, but you know, we have definitely gotten used to better. Even in our models, just build a 1950s model kit, which admittedly, for the era, those things were pretty impressive, but then you compare that to a modern kit and it's just like, of course, there's less of a leap there, but it's fun to be nostalgic. Love going back and looking at it, but I do like my modern comforts, like my warm penguin jammies. Well, I guess I better get the day started, get this thing solve-setted, and get some clear coat on it. Tack those little last odds and ends, finish off that peg, and then start working on the car. Well, that's about it for this morning. I've prattled on enough, but not 5 hours this time. Woo! I'm going to get a nasty gram from YouTube over that one. Guys, you have a great day and model on.